Hello guys, so it's Kimmy the Sparks here. I wanted to just make a little video about a typical Sunday evening covering call outs and what you can expect. So this Sunday I was covering emergency out of hours for social housing companies and councils. So here's a little video of how it went. So yeah, about 5:30 in the afternoon I dropped off my son and then made my way to the first job. The first job was about 15 minutes from where I started. So I started in Beckton where I dropped him off, and then my first job was in East Ham. It took me about 10-15 minutes to get there. When I got to the job, it was RCD tripping. So on the same RCD, you had the kitchen circuit, downstairs sockets and upstairs sockets. Flicked it, kept resetting. So then what I did is flicked off the MCBs next to it, turned them up one by one to see which one it was, and it traced down to kitchen sockets. And then in the kitchen, I first started off with the washing machine. I thought that would be a good place to start. So the washing machine didn't have a spurt at the top, so I had to pull out the washing machine to get to the plug to unplug it, just to, you know, eliminate the fact that it could be the washing machine that's faulty and causing the RCD to trip. So when I pulled it out, there was like a mouse trap, and on the mouse trap there was like a big bunch of like all these wet dirty tissues, and I thought, what is that all about? So anyways, I'm, you know, pulling the socket out, testing it, so forth, and it's still tripping. And then I realised on those mouse traps was not dirty tissues, it was actual mice that have been decomposing for goodness knows how long. Then I moved on to the fridge, plugged out the fridges because they were quite big, those American style. So I pulled out the sockets after that, it was still tripping. And then I thought, you know what? It's the cooker, and again the cooker did not have any sort of isolators on top of the counters, so I had to pull the cooker out. And as I was pulling the cooker out, it was literally just falling apart, like the legs were falling off and so forth. And when I pulled it out, got to the plug, unplugged it, and yeah, it was just covered in grease and wet, and the socket itself was wet with grease. So cleaned that up, requested for a new socket, and then after that the electric stopped tripping. So somebody will be coming out to replace the socket for the hob at the bottom. There was also a cracked double socket that they were using for the kettle they'll be replacing. Yeah, that's the follow-on works that somebody else will have to do, because on the out of hours we just do we don't do parts, and let's make safe and get as much electric working as possible. So yeah, so then I decided to make my way through from North London, from East Ham, sorry, to North London. North London was a job where the RCD kept tripping. Where the RCD kept tripping as well, it was very intermittent. There was no pattern to whatever it was. And there was clearly a fault on one of the neutrals. So the one that was totally fine was the kitchen circuit. So what I did is I reinstated the electrics to the kitchen circuit temporarily by placing it on the non-RCD side. Again, this is just temporary, and somebody literally was coming out Monday morning to replace it. So their main concern was the fridge. This was late at night, hence why I couldn't stay for longer and fault find to find exactly where the problem was. I had a lot of tenants waiting, so I had to just keep it moving. And the tenant was happy with that. You know, she had her fridge working, she was fine with it. So yeah, somebody will have to come out and also test the property, because the certificate was due in October. So after that I made my way to Tower Hamlets, and in Tower Hamlets I pulled up to the job. It took me a while to find. I had to drive around twice because it was a new built estate around the back, so there was not much parking. So the second time I drove back around, I parked up, got my ladders and stuff, and I went to the door. Lady opened the door and she said, you know, who are you? And I said, I'm the electrician. You had a leak, I'm here to check it. She shut the door, put all the lockers on. I could hear her sliding the chains on and stuff. And yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so what happens then? So I thought, okay, let me wait while I tried to make a phone call on the phone number that they provided me with, because I did call the tenant to let them know I'm on my way, and a male answered and he said that's fine. So when the woman opened the door, she just shouted back on to my face. So I thought maybe I'm at the wrong house, and so forth and so forth. So anyways, by the time I made the phone call, the person didn't answer, so I was just about to walk off and leave, and the woman opened the door again, and her daughter was next to her, and you know, they let me in. I isolated the smoke alarm. It was wet. Made safe electrics. Checked all the sockets that the water was leaking into, and then yeah, I came out. And when I came out, there was actually like a group of males, young males. There was about 15 of them, and they were just circling around my car. Not specifically my car, but it's just that area. And 2 of them were arguing, you know, taking off their jumpers and stuff. And I just kind of was like, okay, sorry boys, just squeezing through, you know, put my ladders in, shut the door, and was trying to drive off. And yeah, I was like, okay, that's fine, you know, they're arguing. I didn't really want to run them over, but it was funny because it was just like a one-way system. They had to obviously walk through, because it's a new built estate, so there wasn't really a pathway and a driveway. It was just all like mixed. So anyways, they're walking in front, and I'm like driving slowly, and they're sort of like in front of my car, besides my car, and so forth. And I can hear them saying, oh, nice car, making comments, you know, having a little laugh. And I was like, yeah, sure guys, no worries, no worries. And I thought, you know what, some people might feel intimidated in that sort of environment. You might feel like, oh my goodness, if I give them the wrong kind of look, or even any kind of response, or, you know, get too close when I'm driving to them forward, sorry, they might start an argument with me or whatever it is. So anyways, I left that job. Then I went to central London congestion. So my vehicle's diesel. It cost me about £16 something to drive in at night. Drove in, and there was no parking. Every single road that I drove in around was no entry, no entry, no entry, and double yellows. So I was driving up and down, couldn't find the property, couldn't find where to park, phoned the tenant, they didn't answer, ended up parking up around the corner, walked, they didn't answer the door as well, took a picture, it was a no access. Then I kept it moving. So then I went to jobs in Southwest London, and in Southwest London, finished the job, and then a tenant phoned me, and it's a little bit bad because I was running late, and I told her about 3 hours before she called that I'm going to be 2 hours. And then when she called again, I told her I'm going to be half an hour. And bear in mind, this is an hour later. So when she called me, she's like, where are you? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be half an hour. So then I had to abandon all the jobs that were in the local area just to get to her, because, you know, I felt really, really bad because I've let her down already. So I left all the jobs that were in Southwest London and South London to drive all the way across 30 minutes to get to South East London. And her job was water running down the walls, water running down through the lights, the smoke alarms, and she's had no electrics all day because it tripped out. I isolated the spur, the smoke alarm, the lights, and reset all the other electrics, and called for a plumber to come out and investigate, because apparently a plumber hasn't come all weekend. So that was the end of that. That was quite easy. So then I made my way back to Southwest London, where the next call out that I did was no electrics, tenant needs his machine for his sleep apnea, so it was quite urgent. When I got there, the RCD kept tripping that was controlling all the sockets, the kitchen, the ground floor, and the upstairs. So when I tried to reset the RCD, it was flicking back down. I tried to figure out which circuit was tripping it, figured out that it's the upstairs sockets, so first floor and loft conversion room thing. And then to get the electrics working in his bedroom where the machine was, I decided to take apart one of the sockets there and split it so that I could figure out which side of the socket ring had the problem. And it happened to be that it was in one of the bedrooms next to his bedroom. So all the other electrics in his room and upstairs in the loft room were working now. And I put down the report for somebody to come out in the daytime and test the property as well, because the certificate's expired. And they will investigate further on where exactly the fault is in the other bedroom, and maybe part rewire, or maybe they'll find it in one of the sockets. But there was way too much stuff for me to be able to move it that time at night. I'm not going to be really moving beds and huge wardrobes when they've already got most of the electrics working anyways. And after that, I went to another job in South London, which was to investigate a burning smell in the bedroom. Tenant has a 1-year-old child, so it's also urgent. When I got there, again, sniffing around in the corner, sniffing all the sockets, sniffing all the extension leads, I couldn't smell the burning smell. And then the tenant told me that her lights were flashing, her sockets would just start, working 1 minute, the next minute they weren't working. And to me, it just sounded like a loose connection at the fuse board. So I decided to open that up, and quite a lot of the connections were loose. So I tightened them all up, and hopefully that will solve the issue. But that property as well, the test was due. So I advised tenant to just get that booked in as soon as possible. Left, and I was satisfied that there was nothing burning anywhere, and the sockets were safe to use. And then I made my way down to my last job, which was no electrics, in quite a rough estate in South London. When I got there, I drove into the car park where my sat-nav took me, and it was literally like one of those car parks that's underneath the flats, so you could literally see the pillars, see the car park. Then there was floor 2 of the car park that you could drive up the ramp to get to, and then on top of that was the tower block and the whole estate. So I drove into the car park, was driving around. There's a Tesco there. Apart from that, I couldn't really figure out where the entrance was to any of the flats, so I decided to drive back out and look for a main entrance on the main road. Ended up finding the entrance. So then I decided, you know what, this estate looks quite rough, quite scary, so I'm just gonna park right outside of the door on a double yellow on the curb. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I thought, you know what, like, what's the worst that can happen, right? I don't think my car's gonna get towed at 1 o'clock in the morning. So as I got out, I see about 5 people just sort of like approaching me, towards me, and they're swaying side to side, shouting, screaming. You can tell they're intoxicated, and they walked past me, walked into the car park, and they're just sort of staring at me, talking about dealing crack and whatever else they're doing, just laughing about the situation. And bear in mind, at this time I'm trying to find the entrance, and it's a very, very complicated block with upstairs and downstairs, and all the numbers started from 500 to 700. There was no other numbers, and they didn't go in order. It went from 600 to 700 back to 500. It was just honestly the most mind-bending system that I've ever seen. So then the lady, she just approached me, that was with them, and she just sort of just flung herself onto me, and she was holding me, and she's like, please darling, I'm homeless, I need money, can I get some money, can you give me money, and she's just holding me, and in like the nicest way possible. I want to say that she is like a rough sleeper, so her hygiene wasn't that good, and the smell wasn't the best, right? And she smells like really, really that kind of heavy alcoholic smell as well. And and she was just holding on to me, right? Bear in mind, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm by myself, and she's with 4 other guys, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a bit strange, right? So I've sort of like pushed her off, and I said, so I'm sorry, I've got literally no money. And then her mates called her, and she just walked off, and she left me alone. And I thought, okay, fine, that's the end of that. That was weird. So then I walked around the back to find the other entrance for the east or the west block, whichever one it was. And the tenant said the buzzer doesn't work, so I've got to find an alternative entrance. I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. So I'm walking around the whole block, can't find any other entrances. Then I found a back staircase, a spiral staircase, I thought, okay, let me go up here. As I'm going up, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like literally I hope the group of people weren't sitting on the staircase sort of waiting around or whatever. And I thought maybe there might be other groups of people that are using drugs or whatever on staircases, because that's where they normally hang out. So anyways, walking up the stairs, got to the second floor of the car park. There's literally no other entrances. Went up one more flight, then I found an entrance to a lift. I didn't get into the lift. I ended up going up more staircases and then up and down and up and down. I was literally walking around for about 15 minutes until I finally found the property. I carried out the job, super cracked socket, making an RCD trip. Someone coming to replace it during the week when they book a daytime appointment. Got the electrics working, fine, I'm good to go. As I'm coming out now, you know, I'm taking a video of the whole block for my little Instagram story, and you know, I thought there's literally nobody here. I looked around, thought, yeah, you know what, let me just get the lift, it will just be fast. I don't really want to go on all those staircases again. So I called the lift, and as soon as I step into the lift, I hear footsteps running towards the lift, and I thought, oh my god. And I could literally feel fear inside me, and I was like, wow, I've not felt fear for a long time. And it was just a very interesting sensation that I felt. And he ran up the stairs, bear in mind. So he ran up the stairs, ran into the lift behind me. And I thought, that's interesting. He just ran from up the stairs. Now he's going to go down the stairs. And he just came out of nowhere as soon as I pressed the lift. And I thought, you know what? We are in the times of this pandemic. And, you know, you shouldn't be sharing a lift. So I thought, okay, that's strange. You know, he should have been maybe considerate and asked me if I'm okay to share the lift. But he didn't. He's just in the lift with me. The door's shut now. It's going down. And he starts asking me, are you going to work? Are you going to work? What are you doing? Have you just finished work? Where have you been? Da-da-da. And I thought, oh my god, like I literally could feel fear, because it made no sense of why he was in the lift. And the lift is, as it's going down, it's like sort of lagging in between the levels. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I hope I make it to the ground floor safe, because I have no idea what his intentions were or what he was doing. And as soon as the lift opened, he was like, yeah, have a nice day. And he was like running out of the lift after me, and I was like, oh my god. So I ran into the main road straight out, and he just ran off. I don't know where he went, back to the staircase. And I thought, yeah, that was very suspicious. And as I'm walking back to my car now, I can hear somebody going, excuse me, and I thought, oh my god, I hope it's not him. I turned around and it was that woman again. Sorry? Oh no, sweetheart. She found me again, and she just was chasing me. She was like, excuse me. The more I'm ignoring her, just deciding to walk off, she just like, she's speeding up after me. And I was telling her, like, darling, listen, I've genuinely got no money, because if I had like a tenner on me, 5 or whatever, I would have given it to her and just kept it moving. Unfortunately, I did not even have a bank card, so I couldn't even go to a cash point. I had no cash, no coins laying around, nothing. And obviously she's seen me with a handbag, and she's asking me to check my handbag. And, you know, she's grabbing onto my arms. She's like, can you just check in your handbag? And I'm trying to tell her, darling, it's a handbag, but it's a tool bag. It's complicated, I know, but it's not an actual handbag. There's no purse in there or money or anything. It's just nails and screws and tools. And obviously she's not listening. She's just stuck in her cycle saying, just check your handbag. So anyways, I said, listen, sweetheart, honestly, I've got nothing. And she's crying, clinging onto me, holding onto me. I've managed to get out, just jumped in the car, shut the door, locked the door, and I'm literally feeling fear. And I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know what to do. So then she decided to sort of lay on top of my car, and where I'm on the curb, I've got to drive off to you know, come out, and she's refusing to move and get off, and she's literally like flung herself onto the car, and she was not letting me leave. And she's like, please just check there, and she's pointing at like the gap in between the seats at the front, and she's like, check there, there's a cash point local, can we go cash point? And I thought, okay, you know what, let me check. And then I checked, and I gathered like £1.20 or something like that. Literally, that's all I had in there. And I said to her, that's all I've got. And then she's like, oh, check in the front, check in here, check in there, check behind. Just make sure you check. And I thought, oh my god. Like, I'm actually starting to get worried, because her mates were coming back. And I was like, I have no idea what can happen. I didn't want to make her angry or upset, and I'm like, wow, I've actually got this fear inside. So anyways, I decided to, you know, open the window to give her the money instead of like opening the door and stuff. And she just, like, as soon as I open the window, where on my car when you press the button, it sort of starts to, like, you just got to press it once and it will just go down itself. And it just started going down, and she just like climbed into the car with like her top half, and she was like holding on to me. She's like, please, please, please. And I was like, oh my God. And like, she wouldn't get off me. And I was like, wow, I have no idea. Like, time just sort of disappeared. And I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what the hell was going on. And she wouldn't let go, and time disappeared. And I'm like, I have no idea what is happening. What am I doing? So anyways, I managed to get her off me. I've given her the money. I shut the door, and I'm like trying to drive off. And she's like, can you please check again? And I was like, listen, I'm just going to drive. And I thought, I don't want to run her over her foot because her foot is right next to my front tire. And I'm like literally slowly driving off. And she's like, okay, fine. And she literally just like, her tears dried up and everything. And she just like walked off. Like I said, bear in mind, I'm assuming she wasn't intoxicated on drugs, perhaps things like crack, cocaine, or whatever she's on. No idea. But you can tell she was intoxicated, and she smelled like alcohol as well. And from the conversations that she was having with her friends, that's what I assume happened. So anyways, yeah, I was trying to drive off now, and the car was not in drive mode, it was in park. And then I put it in drive mode, it wasn't going, and I was like, oh my God, just go, 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 go. And it was the handbrake that was on. I was like, oh my God, trying to start the car, and it just wasn't going. And I was like, please just don't come back, because this is literally my chance to get away. And I was just driving, and obviously I hadn't put anything into my sat nav, so I'm just driving just to make sure I get away. And it's like a one-way state system, and I was like, oh my God, I don't really want to bump into her, and she'll like, yeah, whatever. So anyways, that was a crazy moment where I genuinely felt fear. I genuinely felt fear, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I did want to just sort of put that out there to let people know that there are electricians who pretty much put their lives out there to help other people like myself. I put my life on the line in that sense, to go to this woman's house who has young children to make sure that they have electric and they're not scared, because bear in mind, living on that estate must be scary for children as it is. And imagine having no electricity for the whole day, for the whole night, until goodness knows when. So somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to go into these estates at these times of the night and get it done. There have been different ways that some companies deal with it. So certain estates, they will make it a two-man job, two-woman job, two-people job, whatever, but they call it a two-man job. So two-man job meaning that no matter what it is, you've got to have two people going. So if it's a plumber, they can't go there by themselves. They have to have somebody come along with them, whether it's electrician, carpenter, another plumber, apprentice, whoever it is. You just have to have two people going in there. So sometimes we have just specific tenants flag up who have been violent in the past, or certain estates, like the Robin Hood Gardens in Tower Hamlets. That one is all over the newspapers and everything, where they've knocked one half of it down and they're still in the process of knocking down the other. That estate, yeah, I've had some crazy stories myself going there alone. So anyways, that's one way they were dealing with it. Another company ended up getting stab-proof vests for the guys, women, whoever, cover the emergency out of hours for certain estates. It might sound crazy for a little woman like me to be doing it, but then you have to ask, at what stage is somebody okay to go there? Is it a man? Does he have to be a man? Does he have to be a certain height, a certain weight, a certain strength, certain sort of physique? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what point do we say you shouldn't go there by yourself, you're a small little woman, or, you know, you're a young man, you shouldn't go there, or you are a very hench, muscular dude, you're okay to go there at that time of the night? Because anything could happen to anybody, and someone's gonna do it. So like I said, where I don't really feel fear, again, I've got a video coming out on me explaining my thought process and how my brain works. Where I don't really feel the fear, this was the first time in a very long time, I feel like I'm just like a perfect candidate for this kind of job. somebody's going to do it and somebody's going to help these people. So it might as well be somebody who enjoys it, which is me. And then I made my way home after that crazy job. I got back about 1:30, 1:40 at night or in the morning. And yeah, when I got back, I made a quick cup of tea, and then I sat down and typed out all the reports, sent all the pictures. I do it through email. So in the email, I'll attach the time I started a job, the time I finished a job, any pictures that are relevant, any follow-on works that are required. And that took me about half an hour, maybe a bit more than that, to just finish typing all the reports. I normally do them as I go along, or at least try to do them as I go along. But this time I didn't, so I had to dedicate that whole chunk of time when I got back to sending the reports before I could go sleep. So yeah, I'm all talked out now. That is it. That was my Sunday afternoon covering emergency out of hours for social housing and council contracts. Any questions, let me know. My next video will be about the way I see the world and why I have a lot less fear than most people. So yeah, just wanted to put that video out there so people can see that I am probably the anomaly rather than, you know, yourselves being not brave enough or whatever it is. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna do like a little Dr. Electric and Adam. Like, share. I can't say prescribe, so I'm gonna say subscribe. Oh, and comment. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna go make a cup of tea now, and yeah.